So a few days ago, I found myself in a situation where I had to perform a water rescue at night, totally unexpected, along with another club member from Bronte. We found ourselves in a situation where somebody crying for help at Clovelly, and we jumped in with rescue board and helped the divers to their safety eventually. Now, when the story went out, a lot of people asked what happened, what was the condition like, and how did you do it? So I thought I'd do a quick clip to share my story and my learning. So on Tuesday evening, I decided to do a walk with a friend at Clovelly. As soon as we parked the car, I realized something wasn't quite right. There were some people standing really close to the water's edge, looking into the water. Into the direction at which they were looking, I noticed there was like this faint torchlight that was appearing and then disappearing in and out of the waves. So very quickly I went down to have a chat with the people and realized it was divers got trapped in the water and they couldn't come back. The wave was so large, it was quite dangerous. The next thing I heard was screaming for help. It was a woman's voice from distance. It was quite clearly she was, in a state of distress, and something needs to be done. Now, the next person I come across happened to be Mark from Bronte Surf Life Saving Club, and he was just happened to jog by. So we decided that we're going to go into the water and trying to help them locate these divers. Mark went off to find the caretaker for Clovelly Surf Life Saving Club, Richard, who helped us each get a board, and off we went into the darkness. Now here is a bit interesting because I've never went out on a board at night like this. So as soon as I went out, I realized I couldn't see anything. Absolutely nothing at all. Couldn't hear the women anymore. Couldn't hear the scream. I was trying to find something that could point me into the right direction, but all I can see was pitch black and occasionally waves breaking in front of me. I was quite lucky actually finding a gap to go through all the breaks on and get into an area where I just go, whoa, here is pretty dark and where is the people? And finally, lucky enough, in the distance, probably about 50 to 80 meters away, I saw this light and I knew that was them. So I just paddled towards that light, the direction of it, and found them. Now here's the point. They were in their diving gear. They couldn't get on the board. So all we could do is to tow them. And both of them were at the point of exhaustion, so they couldn't really paddle or help kicking even. We're trying to get away from the shore as far as possible so that we're not risking being slammed into the rocks. The next thing is to decide how to get back on shore safely. Clovelly wasn't an option at this stage because the breaks was 5 or 6 foot by that stage. It was quite dangerous for anyone to go back in that kind of condition. And the next best thing we thought was to paddle about 300 or 400 meters towards Gordon Bay. From there, we can get back probably much easier. So we began to paddle in the night. By the time we got to Gordon Bay, it was about half an hour, 20 minutes or half an hour later, and the police rescue boat arrived just in time. And they pulled everybody back onto the boat, took us back to Rose Bay Police Station, Rose Bay Marina. That's where the ambulance was waiting, and everybody was in safe hands. The hardest part of this rescue, apart from finding the people, looking for indicators as to what direction to go, and finding the divers, ironically for me, was to stay in the police boat, getting this major seasickness on the way from Clovelly back to Rose Bay. Everything outside the head was massive swell. We had to slow down the boat, and it wasn't a fun ride. Other than that, we were just really relieved that everybody was safe. So there was a few lessons to be learned from this particular incident. First, you can find yourself in a situation where help is needed, rescues to be performed at any time, unplanned, randomly, anywhere. And the whole key is to be ready. You want to be ready when help is needed. And how to do that? And the only way I see that can happen is that you keep fit, keep training, and keep practice. And that's the only way to ensure that you're up to date, you're healthy and fit, you'll be able to help when the situation arises. Now, secondly, the assessment of risk. In every rescue scenarios that we have learned so far, first and foremost, one procedure is to check for danger, to ensure the safety of yourself and of those around you. In this particular instance, there's nothing different. You have to make a risk assessment before you jump in. Look at the surf, look at the night swim. Are you comfortable in paddle out in that condition? For me, I have to admit there was a moment of hesitation with the board going into darkness, but then I thought, worst case scenario, if I lose the board, I felt reasonably comfortable to swim outside of the break zone and into relatively safer water and wait for rescue to come had that, the worst case scenario happens. Now, if you're not comfortable in performing a rescue, or if there was situations considered to be too dangerous, I would strongly recommend not to risk your own life trying to carry out a rescue operation, because that only means putting more lives in danger. And that's not what rescue is all about. And thirdly, this is a message for all the recreational makers out there, especially when you go out in open water at night. You want to check the weather condition. You want to check the surf condition. Things can change really drastically, really quickly. In this particular scenario, obviously the divers went out around about 8 o'clock when the sea was calm. An hour later, everything just turned upside down, and there was no way that they can get back safely. And so this is a situation that I'd say with a bit more planning can be avoided. And if you do go out in pairs, and make sure that light is with you. Flashlight, a torch, as well as maybe whistles. Even whistles would be a great help when attracting attention for help. So stay safe, and when you see people need help, jump in.